What's up, people? In this video we are going to take a look at one of my favorite YouTubers, Sv3rige's, none other than the Latvian madman himself. Kind of, I guess, spoiling this video because Sv3rige is, I do like Sv3rige. I don't agree with everything that he says, but I think overall I think he is saying a lot of things that kind of need to be said. And he does like to go against the grain, which in most cases I think is very good. He does say some stuff that is a little bit out there that I don't agree with, but you know, who agrees 100% with everybody? So I'm totally fine with disagreeing with him on some things and taking the bigger picture of what he's trying to say. In this video we're going to look at Sv3rige's food pyramid and examine what he recommends that people eat. I'm just going to give you my take on it. Okay, so if you guys have any other YouTubers that you would like me to take a look at, specific videos that you want me to analyze, leave me a note in the comment section. Tell me who, what, where, and why. And without further ado, let's jump right into this. Oh, and by the way, we're going to watch this at 2x speed because he doesn't really talk very quickly in this video. So here we go.
Hi, welcome to my food pyramid. So I've been talking about these food groups for the last 2 years or something. I've gotten quite deep into nutrition, explaining why some of it is good and some of it is bad. So I'm not going to talk about it over again because it would be a 10-hour video or even longer probably. The reason I'm making this is because people still keep asking me, what should I eat? Stuff like that. So I'm going to link this video to everybody who still keeps asking me that. And this is all based on so many lectures, so many documentaries, and just so much reading that I couldn't possibly count it now. And I'm not talking from the outside also, because I've actually tried over 5 diets myself. Anyway, at the top, above all food, there is the sun. And why the sun is the essential key for human health, I would hope that most of us understand. And this is sunbathing. Sun gazing also, putting your water in the sun or even your food. And I'll link you to a video of Jack Cruz, this guy who talks about the relation between the sun and food and what it's all actually about. And even though I don't agree with him fully, and I suppose none of us agree with anybody fully, as usual, use it as food for thought. So I'm going to talk about...
Okay, so really quick, let's just touch on that, what he says about the sun before he goes into the actual food. I made a video about sunlight making you happy, and if you recall, super scientific video. I quote tons of sources in there, which I actually don't. But anyway, my experience has been that when I get some sun, I feel really good, and when I don't get sun, I feel pretty awful. Okay, and yeah, so I'm on board with the whole sun thing. I don't know anything about sun gazing. I haven't actually looked into that, which as far as I understand is where you stare at the sun kind of during sunset and sunrise, if I recall correctly, which is like the times where the sun is the weakest. So you're not it's not like high noon and you're looking up at the sun like an idiot. However, I can understand why that might have some benefit as well, because I seem to remember hearing once that most of the, I think it's the vitamin D, or most of the benefit from sunlight is absorbed through your body, through your eyes, which is actually, I used to be a huge fan of wearing sunglasses. That was you have some girls who can't walk past a shoe store without stopping to look. That's kind of how I was with sunglasses. And this year when I was in Thailand, I had a friend from Cyprus who was 100% natural, vegan, didn't wear shoes anywhere, and he was a monster too, despite the fact that he was vegan. But anyway, he told me that he didn't wear sunglasses because he thought it didn't feel natural. So I started doing it, I tried it, and I feel actually much better. And it might sound a little crazy, but I feel like my eyesight has improved through not wearing sunglasses. And I'm on the computer a lot, so I notice a lot of eye strain, and when I stopped wearing sunglasses, I feel like that effect was lessened. So let's go on.
This now, in a second. Firstly, when talking about any kind of food and choosing what to eat, the most important thing to think about is bacteria. A lot of stuff that we eat now is pretty much useless for our health because of the missing beneficial bacteria. So there's hardly any benefit for our health, because it's not all about nutrition. It's pretty much the same as sitting inside a dark room all of your life, and the only thing about nutrition, not being exposed to the sun, because bacteria is up there with the sun when it comes to the importance of the human health, because nothing works without those things. And it's no coincidence that the most nutritious things are also the ones with the most beneficial bacteria. So we expose our food to certain things nowadays, overwash our food and expose it to heat, obviously, because a lot of people like cooking nowadays. So what's left there at the end? Bacteria literally release light in our bodies. Yeah. At the top, there's animals.
Okay, so I don't know anything about that, the whole bacteria releasing light and healthy foods have more bacteria. I can tell you from my experience that when I eat raw food, raw meat specifically, and raw eggs, I do feel better. Is that because there's more bacteria in there that has not been killed by the cooking process? It's possible. However, what I always kind of understood it to be is that when you cook food, it's not necessarily that you're killing the bacteria inside the food, which is possible. It's that you're kind of destroying all of the vitamins and enzymes and stuff like that, which is not bacteria, right? You're denaturing it, so you're kind of reducing the quality of it. That's why I thought that I felt better. Is it the bacteria? Maybe. There have been a few studies, I think, that study the link between people who eat foods that have good bacteria or probiotics and general levels of like happiness or reported levels of happiness. And also, interestingly enough, if you take a look at the Weston A. Price Foundation, they've noticed that all of these cultures, all of these, quote unquote primitive cultures that had amazing teeth, despite the fact that they didn't have access to modern dental care, all of them had some kind of signature food that was fermented. Okay, and the fermenting process, whatever, has something to do with good bacteria, like it's basically fermented with bacteria or some shit, I don't really know. Okay, so yeah, fermented food, good. Never tried high meat, but he'll get into that in a second.
Throughout history, humans have always strived to eat animals. It's a so-called trophy food. The kings, the tribe leaders, they always take the organs, and even the hunters today, they eat the organs and get the muscle meat, sell it to the public. In the world we live in, it's either kill or die. And it's beautiful, it's a circle. If you don't follow nature's path and you don't listen to your body, then you have two choices. You can simply kill yourself, or you can die slowly from disease by not eating these things. That's that. So, organs and muscle are the easiest to digest food there is for the human. And organs are the most nutritious food in general. Nothing at all compares to it. It's the fountain of health. And you can ferment also these things and make high meat. That's why I talked about the bacteria. And some nutrients are removed then, or lowered, that is, when vitamin K2, for example, is increased. And of course, if you cook it rare, then medium rare, and then well done. But well done pretty much means, well, it's done, as in it's destroyed. And eggs, there's also fish eggs and duck eggs and stuff, not only the things we see in the shop. And fish eggs don't have to be eaten as caviar, as in overly salted. You can also get them simply from the whole fish. And dairy can also be fermented for the bacteria.
Okay, so what he says about animals, first thing he said, organs and muscle meat is the most easily digested food when you eat it raw. Gonna have to agree with that. In my experience, when I eat raw meat, I feel like I'm full, but I don't feel that bloated feeling. I've said this many times before. Whereas if I were to stuff myself on cooked meat, let's say, like I used to go to Korean barbecue and just like go absolutely berserk on all this cooked meat, by the time I was done, I would be so full I would almost be in pain. Whereas it's almost not possible to stuff yourself to that degree on raw meat. You just kind of just don't want to eat it anymore. You're just like done. And this is total bro science right here, but I think it has to do with your body kind of recognizing like, okay, we have enough nutrients, we don't need to eat anymore. Whereas if you're eating lots of cooked meat, the level of nutrients in that is reduced so much that you think that you need to eat more and more, which is why you don't get full. Which, if you want to think about it, is kind of what they say about binging on carbs and processed junk food, which is that you're able to eat so much of it, number one, because it triggers a dopamine release from the sugar, I think it is, or whatever it is, salt or something. But also because there's very little nutritional value in there, so your body's like, well, okay, we just ate all this food, but we still need all these nutrients that we don't have, eat more, right? Which is why you can eat so much, unhealthy food. Like I said, high meat I've never tried. Eggs I'm a huge fan of, raw as well. Like I notice pretty much an instant increase in mood when I drink raw eggs, which is normally how I'll break a fast if I'm doing OMAD. And immediately I just feel really good. All right, so far, Sv3rige, you're 3 for 3.
Obviously, drinking the whole milk as such is the best and heals a lot of disease. It's so incredibly nutritious. Same as eggs. There's everything for the animal to grow out of from the egg. Makes sense. And the milk is to make the baby, so to speak, grow out. It also makes sense why it's so nutritious and why it even heals autism. So cheese and butter, we all know, and then there's 100 other things, and yogurt, so many things. People have been eating milk and making milk products for a very long time now. And even though these byproducts have things missing, if you don't tolerate lactose, then it may actually still be an option because it's still way better than anything from the plant world. When it comes to eating plants...
Okay, so just really quick about dairy before he goes into the whole plants thing. Raw milk, definitely much better than pasteurized milk. In my experience, like I'm lucky enough to be from California where you can actually buy raw milk in the store, which I did do many times, and I noticed that, number one, it just tastes better. I unfortunately would kind of maybe you guys have done this too, but when I would buy the raw milk, I'd be like, oh, well, I want some cookies to go with the milk, like, I don't know, something wrong with me. So I'd buy a bunch of cookies and I would like drink all the raw milk, be like, oh yeah, this is so healthy. I'm being so healthy right now, and smash like a box of cookies or half a box of cookies. Okay, so obviously not the best way to do it. You should not do that, obviously. And I definitely drank way too much raw milk. I would have like, I don't know, like 4 glasses a night, just because I'm doing OMAD, and when you do OMAD, you're just like super hungry at the end of the night, and then I normally will eat like a little bit of dessert every night, and instead of just having like a Kit Kat bar, now I'd be like, oh, well, I have the raw milk, so I'm gonna get this box of cookies and drink my raw milk because it's super healthy. Not the best, but on the flip side, what it would do is I would be so full, and I could just tell I'd like way overpassed my like calories for the day, is that the next day I would be super motivated to maybe do a little bit more cardio and maybe work out a little bit harder at the gym. So this is called reward eating, and it's generally like not super healthy. It's not ideal to do that. However, it's better than not doing anything, right? So I'm cool with that. I look okay. Anyway, it was good. Regarding cheese and butter and really yogurt and anything else that comes from dairy, my recommendation to you is that you always check the packaging to make sure that it is from raw milk, right? If you have cheese or yogurt or butter that's from pasteurized milk, you're not really getting any of the nutritional benefits that come from the raw milk in terms of the whole like enzymes and bacteria and all that shit. Haven't noticed too much of like a difference in terms of eating, cheese from raw milk or butter from raw milk. The cheese and the butter, or the yogurt even specifically. But then again, those things are normally consumed on a much smaller scale as opposed to organ meat or muscle meat or eggs or milk, when those things are raw, which are more like a staple of the meal. As opposed to cheese and butter, you're not going to eat a fucking pound of cheese and call that your meal. You're not going to eat a pound of butter and call that your meal. So was I just not consuming enough to notice any sort of difference? Maybe. But then again, it is kind of a garnish. And also regarding the raw cheese just tastes better. Like Roquefort cheese is very good. Blue cheese a lot of the time is made from raw milk. You can find a lot from Trader Joe's, which I personally enjoy. Get a big fat chunk of Roquefort cheese for like $4. Like, I don't know, it's tough to beat.
The first rule is do not eat anything that does not grow in your environment. That means nothing imported. This is incredibly important. So if somebody from Norway wants to eat mango, for example, then show me the mango tree in Norway, all right? The other rule is do not eat anything that cannot be eaten raw, because there's a lot of plant products that are even toxic, and in many cases the chemicals are very damaging to humans. So somebody has to be really, really stupid to not understand that if food is toxic in its raw form, that it should not be eaten, even when it's cooked. And the other thing is there's 2 reasons why plants are in no way essential for any human. Firstly, there's no nutrients in plants that we require that we do not get from our natural diet. Secondly, there's humans who are allergic to certain plants. So you cannot say that any fruit, vegetable, any seed, anything from the plant world is essential for us, because there will always be humans, and quite a few, that are allergic to that certain thing.
Okay, so a few things that he said in there. Number 1, don't eat anything that needs to be cooked. The one thing that comes to mind is potatoes, right? Potatoes, if you eat them raw, are apparently like poisonous or something, and if you don't cook them, you'll get sick. And I can think of one time off the top of my head where I ate a potato that was kind of undercooked, and I got sick like the next day. I was sick for like 24 hours. It's almost like I got poisoned. The other thing, plants don't have any nutritional value. That technically is true, right? It's pretty much just water and fiber with like a couple things in some plants. There are a few exceptions that I would say to that, like celery, for example, does have some kind of, it's like a steroid that it has in it. So if you eat celery, it can boost your testosterone. And also things like onions and garlic, right? Anything that's an allium is what it's called. Those are very healthy. There's all kinds of really good shit, like improved circulation, it's fucking, I don't know, antimicrobial, like just basically improves your health when you eat garlic and onions, which you generally don't eat raw either. Like pretty much if you ever smelled anybody cooking anything delicious, it was either garlic or onions or both that they were sauteing in a pan. Okay, so I'm a huge fan of those things. Kind of disagree with this guy right here in regards to that, although, I don't want to rip on the guy a little bit. Doesn't look like he eats that much garlic. Looks like he eats like mayonnaise sandwiches maybe. Obviously not, right? Because it's like raw, Mr. Raw food. But the other thing that he said is that if you're from Norway, don't eat mangoes, right? Don't eat anything that's not indigenous to your area. I mean, this doesn't really account for people who migrate, I guess. Like, what if you're from Norway, like ethnically, and you move to Africa? Like, are you supposed to import all your food from Norway and, like, you know, not eat peanuts or gazelles or whatever they eat in Africa? I don't know. I think that's a little shaky for me. Although I understand what he's saying. I understand the logic behind that. But to say don't eat food that doesn't grow in your natural habitat, I think that's like, I don't think there's that much variation between human beings that it's going to make that much of a difference in your health.
Whereas when it comes to animals, if we would be allergic to meat, we would be allergic to ourselves in most cases, which would mean that we wouldn't be here in the first place. We would already be dead because we would be allergic to ourselves. Makes sense. So fruit should only be eaten in season, and it will always cause a lot of nerve damage and a lot of things. It should never be overeaten. But seeing as people are supposed to be in ketosis, at least Europeans, most of the time of the year, that's when they would heal from any damage done at all, if any, when eating a lot in summer, for example. Whereas people who live in warmer climates could be eating them way more often. But it really depends, again, where you live. Vegetables, humans usually always stayed away from them, and green things as such. People that I listen to when it comes to health, they usually recommend juicing them. But juicing is unnatural, so if you would eat them, you should eat them raw, and if you eat them raw, you will get so many health problems that I would hardly recommend eating any vegetables. That would be in the case of starvation only. For myself also. Seeds. The only seeds I could possibly recommend are nuts, the so-called nuts from the trees. And that's only because it's more or less natural to occasionally eat them, the ones that you actually open yourself. Other than that, in the quantities we get them, and because they are roasted nowadays anyway, no, because the fats are so damaging in large quantities. And no other seeds, no grains, no legumes. Those are so toxic, you gotta be really, really dumb, like really dumb to actually eat them. All the anti-nutrients, and there's trace amounts of nutrients in grains, and even those are not absorbable. The only macronutrient is sugar, which will destroy you.
Okay, so really quick before he goes on there, regarding not eating vegetables, like don't eat any raw vegetables. I mean, at the end of the day, like, okay, you want to have a salad, is that really going to kill you? No, I don't think so. And in fact, I think sometimes it might be good to have a salad to kind of get all that fiber to kind of clean you out a little bit. But, you know, like, okay, in a perfect world, yeah, you would probably only eat like organ meat, right? But who wants to live like that? You know, it's not, who's going to do that? So yeah, raw vegetables, probably not the best idea to eat all of them all the time. Eat them here and there if you feel like it, I guess. Again, there's some exceptions like celery. Maybe you want to eat a little bit of an onion or something. I guess that's fine. Or eat a piece of raw garlic is also very good to do, especially if you're sick. Eating raw fruit or fruit, I guess. I used to be a huge proponent of fruit, and I guess it's not the worst thing that you can eat compared to like processed food, let's say. But in my experience, there's so many other more nutritious things that you can eat. Why would you eat fruit? I think it should kind of be treated as a dessert, right? Especially if you know, right now I'm back in Thailand. Lots of places will sell fruit shakes. Lots of carts will sell a piece of, sell pineapple and mango and stuff like that. It's delicious. I love it. It's not going to, ruin your health to eat a mango or something if you're from Norway or whatever. My opinion, right? I think that's fine. But again, don't allow yourself to pig out on fruit and think to yourself, oh, this is healthy, it's fruit, I can eat as much as I want and my health won't suffer. Again, not saying your health will suffer to like an extended degree because you ate some mangoes or something, or you eat mangoes every day, because there are worse things that you can eat, but also keep in mind that there are better things that you can eat and there are better ways of scheduling your eating frequency in that you're not going to be snacking on mangoes or fruits all day. Regarding the seeds and the nuts, what he says is true about most nuts that we eat these days being roasted and in the quantities that we eat them in. It's probably not super healthy. If you want to eat nut butter, you can get raw peanut butter, I think, or raw cashew butter from like Whole Foods, Trader Joe's. With things like that, I mean, again, it's one of these things not super healthy, right? Or not like, it falls into the category of it's not the healthiest thing that you can eat, but compared to, let's say, binging on junk food, like processed junk food, it's much better. So, I've definitely gone through periods, and also recently, where I go through a jar of peanut butter in like 2 days. I'm also very active and fairly athletic, so, I kind of allow myself to do that. So it's kind of, how much are you exercising compared to what you can, the negative effects that you can absorb. Okay. yeah, as far as the seeds and nuts, I mean, it's not like super unhealthy like it's making it seem, but again, it should not be a main staple of your diet. The main staples of your diet should be these things up here. He is 100% right about that in my bro science opinion.
So those who eat outside here, I would maybe, and only maybe, eat if I was in a Chinese prison, rice and some vegetables. That's what they offer there. If I was in prison and they only offered me bread, I would starve myself to death as a protest.
Okay, so that's kind of funny, and that's the end of the video, by the way. But like, yeah, okay, I don't know. I'm not even going to touch on that. Like, rice doesn't have that much nutritional value. The fact that they eat it in Asia for like every meal, I mean, so what? Like, that doesn't mean that it's healthy or anything. Yeah, kind of ironic considering I'm in Asia. Yeah, so anyway, that's my overall opinion and analysis of Sv3rige's food pyramid. Overall, I'm going to say that I agree with probably about 95% of what he says, in that what I consider to be extremely, extremely important if you're going to strive for optimal health. Number one, you need to get some sun. Okay, this is not like, you know, you need to get some sun. I don't know how else to tell you. Like, if you get sun, you're going to have a happier, better life. If you don't get any sun, you're going to be miserable. Okay, you should eat most of your food in the form of raw meat or raw eggs. I guess raw milk as well, but it's not as accessible unless you live on a farm or something or out in the country and you have a cow. But this stuff you can buy in the store or from a butcher. High meat, again, I've never tried that, can't comment on that. You should eat most of your calories from these two things. And then these are kind of considered to be, I guess, like snacks slash dessert kind of thing. Like, eat them sparingly and don't, you know, don't make this the main part of your meal. If don't do it. Like, regardless of what you want to, you're sedentary, you want to be athletic, like, you're not doing yourself any favors by eating a bunch of plants and fruit and vegetables and nuts and seeds. Like, you're just not. Okay, and again, one more thing I want to touch on. He doesn't have grains in here. He says you should never eat grains. The one exception that I'm going to make in here is rye. Rye is a fairly healthy grain to eat, as well as pumpernickel, which is fermented rye. So you guys can look those up on the Weston A. Price Foundation website. It's great information there on rye. I also recommend oats, even though there are, I guess, lots of anti-nutrients in oats. However, I find that they're very useful the day before I need to do any sort of extended amount of exercise. Like, if I'm going to run, 8 miles or something, like, I'll eat a bunch of oats the day before and I'll feel very good and strong for my run. Or if I have a very long workout, it's also very good. Cool. All right, so that is my breakdown of Sv3rige's food pyramid. Hope that was informative for you guys. If you have any other suggestions for other videos or YouTubers you want me to take a look at, please leave me a comment. Subscribe to my channel. Peace.